Hey, Crawlspacers, welcome to our monthly show. We're going to review 5 episodes of Spidey Super Stories, and we've got JR on the line to do it again. We had so much fun last night, JR.
Oh, yeah, we had a blast. I'm just ready to do it again.
No, your sarcasm is showing. Welcome, JR. How are you, buddy?
I'm kind of sad right now.
Why? What's allergies? What's happening?
Well, because of what we're going to talk about.
Oh, JR. You sound like the Cowardly Lion. All right. Speaking of, I don't know.
Let me at him.
And we also have Kelly. What's going on, Kelly?
Hi. I'm gonna power through. I got gluten, so I do not feel good. So, if anybody wants to be, I guess, I might just throw up all over.
Oh yeah, let's not do that. Let's
all
save
over
that
the
for the...
ASN. Both issues slightly deserve it.
Oh yeah, I won't disagree with that actually. What was it? Did you go out to eat and somebody put some gluten in your food, or what happened?
No, so there's a place that normally is like really gluten-free and safe, and I grabbed some Uber Eats while I was doing all of my show notes, because there's a lot. I had to read a lot this morning, and I'm going to assume, since I didn't even finish it because it didn't taste right, I think that the cornbread muffin was definitely no longer gluten-free.
Man, poisoned by the muffin.
Poisoned by cornbread.
Cornbread, yep. I got no segue for that. Mark, you like fruit pies?
Fruit pie, Hostess fruit pies. Hostess fruit pies all day long, man.
I remember your article. I love fruit pies, yeah.
Yeah, and I even came on for Friday Night Fights for that too.
Oh, I remember that. What's another segue? And there are cakes in a break room at a teacher's room. There you go. We can get some pies there. What's up, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm pretty good here. I've been room remodeling all day here, so happy little trees keeping it peep. And Kelly, I know how you feel too. I mean, we're kind of on a partial gluten-free diet, and ends just wandering, and yeah, we kind of want to get sick here.
Okay,
I got my garbage can nearby.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm celiac, so it's a little bit different than just not eating gluten, because this is an autoimmune disorder.
Ouch.
Yeah, my cousin actually has celiacs myself, so yeah,
man,
he knows how you feel.
Venkman, thank you for the super chat. Kelly's come here to chew bubblegum and kick some ass, and we're all out of bubblegum.
This is true.
There you go. Thank you, Venkman. Appreciate that. We got your boy in the chat, not JR, Mark's. Grant's in the house. Who's this Mark loser? It was just Father's Day, Grant. What did the boy get you? What did he get you, Mark? Did he get you something Spider-Man related?
He did. He got me a superhero card, and my kids all got chipped in and got me a watch, and we're good to go.
Nice. Good job. Adam says Moreland loves fruit pies too. We know that. Cut the cornbread. JR gets that reference, and others if you've watched the history. It's a fruit pie. We got Josh on the line. He's wearing the Crawlspace hoodie. JR has his sarcasm. Let's get started. All right. Josh Nelson says the most heartbreaking death in 50 years since Gwen Stacy. That is a quote from Marvel.
Yeah, we'll talk, because I got a lot to say.
She does.
Yeah, I can't wait, Brad. This is like 2 great issues going to go down in history as some of Amazing Spider-Man's greatest of all time, and I'm gonna be here to talk about it. This is wonderful. A+ for me on both of them.
Mark, you're right up under me, and I just said earlier I was gonna throw up on you.
Mark, you're gonna
like right below her, Mark. You like set yourself up there.
Thank you.
I try not to make Kelly mad, and somehow I seem to do it every week. And now
JR, if you get me mad, there you go. Everybody gets a turn under.
Oh dear.
All right, Kelly.
Better wear a hat here.
There you go.
Oh, hold on.
There you go, JR.
Hold on, let me get JR on you. There you go.
Okay, I'm ready.
You look like a Simpsons character, JR. What the? That's like
That's just a towel.
Like Marge deflated her hair. There's a quote. All right, Kelly, you've got ASM 920 Legacy 26 regular. Let's go through this one.
Yeah. All right. So we start with a flashback 9 months earlier, where Kamala basically bit pretty much begs to get a job to work for Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
Then we cut to New York City, where, the weather hell has broken loose. And as Mary Jane and Peter are worried about the kids because Rabin, the emissary, is back, Norman comes in to say his team is looking after the kids, and Kamala comes in to help, making an absolute terrible entrance into the story. And she even mentions that.
Yeah, she's self.
She's more self-aware than the writers here. Just figure that out. So anyway, Peter seems confused as to why she's there, as we all are.
Yeah.
And but help is help. And since this is a Spider-Man book, everybody else has to come and save the day. So anyway, Rabin shows up. Peter tells him that he ruined his life. Rabin tells him that, no, this is how it's supposed to be because of certain editorial rules. I mean, influence. I mean, friendly suggestion that totally isn't being forced at this point. Rabin wants to take Mary Jane's heart and become a god. Peter saves her, and Norman and Kamala fight Rabin. Rabin calls on his Aztec Mayan dragon thing, Power Ranger style. And as everyone looks at the cultural appropriation monster that Rabin has summoned, Rabin taunts Mary Jane about Paul's origins. We go back to another flashback, and we find out that Paul is actually the son of Rabin, just from another universe. He followed Mary Jane back to 616 because this is a world where he was never born in, and he likes it that way. Fair. Back to the present, I think Rabin alludes to the kids, pretty much alludes that they are the bindings that he keeps talking about with Mary Jane. They are the chains that tie her heart to him. And the chains have now served their purpose, whatever that was, I guess, to waste our time. So at Paul and MJ's, the kids disappear in Paul's arms back to the New York City streets. Rabin taunts Mary Jane again, saying he drew the kids in the sand, the kids that Mary Jane saw herself in. So that's why they look like Mary Jane and Peter, and the ones that she held so tightly. And just as easily, he wipes them away and brings them home. The kids were nothing but a way for Rabin to have, like I said, Mary Jane's heart tied to him. Mary Jane quotes Mayday's famous Spider-Verse line, the thing that, like, we all know this entire family for, which is, I'll kill you, over and over and over again. And she's vowing to, like I said, vowing to kill Rabin, and her emotions trigger her jackpot powers, which she uses on Rabin. Then the Fantastic Four show up because, again, this is an Amazing Spider-Man book. So really it's Spider-Man and his amazing friends. And Reed whips up a new flying car just to help Peter and tell him that they'll fight the Aztec Mayan dragon. So Peter can go find Mary Jane, who ran off to kill Rabin. Her jackpot powers failed her, and she accidentally heals Rabin. Rabin is almost able to cut Mary Jane's heart out, but then Kamala comes from behind and punches Rabin a few feet away. Peter gets there and convinces Mary Jane to not fight Rabin and to not give him an opportunity to kill her and become a god. Kamala offers to help, so Peter, who for all 18 pages so far didn't want Mary Jane out of his sight, is now totally okay with this 19-year-old kid he's hung out with maybe 4 times in his whole life, protecting Mary Jane, letting her protect Mary Jane with her life, with this particular threat. It's totally cool now, but wasn't cool 18 pages ago. So Peter goes after Rabin, and I lost my place, beating him with a parking meter. But Rabin disappears to go searching for Mary Jane. Peter now runs off to find Mary Jane when he could have just ran with her from the beginning and protected her and left Rabin to Kamala. But all right, plot. Norman and Reed figure out the language that the dragon is kind of speaking, and it's a math situation to take down the Aztec Mayan appropriation monster. And they do it. It's actually pretty cool. Math can be used to save the day, kids, as long as you aren't Spider-Man in his own book. Kamala calls Mary Jane Mrs. Jane, so you know how well they actually know each other. They're so close. They're such besties. Just like, she called Spider-Man MJ's boyfriend, because again, Kamala is just so close to these people. She just knows them. They're her best friends. Such an important supporting character in this book, and very integral. And Kamala does get some good licks into Rabin and tells Mary Jane to trust her, as she has a plan to distract Rabin, but they need to split up, and Mary Jane just needs to keep running, no matter what. Norman and the Fantastic Four have visuals on Mary Jane as they've circled back now that the dragon is defeated, and we see that Rabin has also caught up to Mary Jane, or so we think. As Rabin stabs Mary Jane from behind, claiming this is how he saw it and that the sacrifice is made, Peter kicks Rabin in the neck and goes to hold MJ, who's dying. These dark, mystical, anti-light matter, whatever, is floating around to represent Way Up, and as Rabin tells Way Up, I hate these names, that he brought them the Scarlet Woman, they call him a liar and they kill him. Peter hears MJ behind him as he's holding MJ and find that the real Mary Jane is with Norman and the Fantastic Four, and they're asking who Peter is holding. It's Kamala, who's shapeshifted, even though she hasn't had that power in a few years since Marvel phased those powers out, as it was meant to show that Kamala did not have to pretend to be a white woman to be a superhero. But sure, she can die like this. That's cool. In this way, that's not justified and actually kind of racist, but we're gonna go with it. But Peter has somehow unmasked as Robin died, and Kamala realizes she's been working with Spider-Man at her Osborn internship, and then takes off her mask so he can see that she's Kamala. Why? I don't know. Does this matter to the story? Is it relevant? Does it add anything? Not really, when we never see these two working together at Osborn Industries, except maybe like twice. Please feel how emotional this scene is, obviously. Peter's holding the equivalent to someone he waves to because they both go to the same Starbucks every morning. It's very emotional. It's very deep, y'all. So anyway, Kamala weakly tells Peter that she can't seem to heal, that something is wrong. And as Peter asks Kamala to stay with him, she asks if she did good, which is weird that she needs his approval now when she's been one of the best superheroes Marvel's had for years and, has proven herself to be amazing in her own right. But sure, let's give her the sidekick bullshit, I guess. And to make this even worse, her last words are straight from G. Willow Wilson in Miss Marvel #5. It's also probably most well known in the MCU show of Miss Marvel, is that good is not a thing you are, but a thing you do. And Kamala dies. The panel of the Fantastic Four and Norman and Mary Jane looking on as this happens is kind of wild. Norman looks surprised, Mary Jane and Sue look bored, and the Fantastic Four boys are asleep.
I didn't even... I guess yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, Mary Jane now walks over to, I guess, look at the dead body out of morbid curiosity. Norman then tries to make this all about himself, claiming that Kamala really wasn't interning there, but was just there to watch him, which is kind of true, but also makes what point? It doesn't matter. Peter caresses Kamala's face. It's awkward looking. Paul finds them, and Mary Jane breaks down, hearing that the kids are gone. And we end with a splash page of everyone looking sad, and Peter is hugging Miss Marvel's dead body.
Okay.
That's 26.
Callie, let's go around the horn for grades. Callie, grade?
Can I burn this?
Oh, wow. I was going to say that's a B for burn, but no, that'd be too high a grade.
No,
I got
I
got the torch.
Good, great, let's go. No, this is insulting.
F for fire. F for fire. There you go.
Sure, F for fire.
Yeah. Okay. JR, F for fire?
Not quite, but it is a nice, solid, fat D.
D. Mark.
A+.
Get the hell out of
love
it.
it.
Really?
No, you made me review this and all the ones before because Chi-Town bailed out on us, and so that's your punishment. You have to have an official Crawlspace grade of A+ on this.
Full.
Sure.
What is it? What? There's no way there's an A+. What do you got, Mark?
D-.
Okay, that's I knew it wasn't that high. And Ryan, your grade?
F for fridged.
Oh yeah. I'm more JR. I'm a D minus area. So Kelly, you want to go cons first? Or you want to go pros first? Your discretion.
We can do pros because my con, like I told you and warned you, I have a long thing to say for my cons, and I want the floor.
Okay.
But pros, I literally wrote what pros. Like we could joke that the kids are gone, but ultimately they weren't really harming this book. They're not the thing that was making the book so bad. So, they were just there asking about clowns and weird stuff. So, I kind of actually miss them because I'd take their antics over anything else that we've dealt with so far.
We got a couple grades from chat. MJWP gives it an FFFFF. Tevia gives it an F. I hate this so much. Adam says F. What a waste of time this entire arc was. Josh Nelson gave it an F. Bankman gives an F minus minus minus. We just have a screw Paul here.
Paul didn't do anything either in this book. He's just there.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other grades? There. SoFlo liked it, gave it a B. That's the highest grade I've seen tonight. Let's see.
Awkward.
Let's see. Zach is giving it an F. Tevye an F. Okay. Pros. Did you name one, Kelly?
I mean, I said we could joke that the kids are gone, but actually, I would prefer them still being here over the crap we got. So.
Yeah. I always, John Romita Jr. is always a plural for me, but Kelly took
those panels are bad.
Yeah, the panel. But I kind of see what he's doing when I look at here. Let's go back to the panel that we were just talking about here.
Okay. None of these faces are faces that I understand they don't know her. They don't I mean, I get it. But at the same time, these are not faces you should make when you literally watch somebody breathe their last breath.
So should there be tears, or Norman is shocked because
Norman's the only one that has the right face, and that in and of itself is kind of what makes this worse.
So she should. Everybody should be in tears. Is that what you think they should be?
No, but they shouldn't look bored.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's a Thursday. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is he's rolling his eyes. That's what he looks like. Oh, God, dead. The thing. Oh, God, here we go. Another dead kid.
Yeah.
JR, you got any pros?
No, the only pro I have actually is the one thing Kelly said about Norman making it about himself, because I had never thought about that, but I thought, well, that's right. He's a narcissist. Good to see that he's not all good. I mean, he's still Norman. So, but that's it.
And the look on his face is like, man, she got past me. Not dang, she's dead.
Well, I think it's more like he's probably worried that he's like, how are they going to pin this dead kid on me?
Right. Yeah. That's self-interest. Yeah. Thank you, Josh, for the super chat. He says, that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the single worst Spider-Man story since one moment in time. Joe Quesada must be proud.
I don't even think Quesada would approve this.
No. Amazing Grace came in between, and Amazing Grace still reigns supreme as the absolute worst Spider-Man story.
Amazing Grace. I remember those. Weren't those the 1.5s or whatever they were? 1.1,
yeah,
2, 3.
Those are the ones that you made me start off my reviewing with.
And yet you're still here. I'm amazed. Here, let me do my best Norman face. Okay. Mark, you got any pros out of this?
Yeah, I like Miss Marvel. I think she's a good character. I've enjoyed her comic book. I know the TV show wasn't the strongest, but my daughter will watch it with me. She doesn't like superhero stuff, and I'm looking forward to the movie coming out. So her appearance near all the way up to the death, which is obviously a con for this issue, but her appearance is a welcome little breath of little comedy kind of in an otherwise serious story. And if we weren't spoiled on this, there were several people who were put in potential danger that it could have been. And if we had not been spoiled, there would have been at least I wonder, is it going to be Torch after all? Or, wait, but we were spoiled. So that kind of made that all moot.
We can talk about that a little bit because that's obviously a con, how spoiled it got.
Actually, I don't think so.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Why?
I actually think that the spoiling probably helped the book. Because I think if we had not known and had actually had that outrage organically, things would have been a lot worse for Marvel. I actually think the leak helped them a little bit, helped them have some time to save some face.
Right.
Not much, but because this was, I think we all needed to know just because of, like I said, we'll get into it when I go into my cons. I'm trying my best to hold off before just diving in.
Let's get Ryan's pros, and then we'll go to your cons. So,
Uh,
Ryan, what do you got?
My pros was actually the fight with the Fantastic Four with the Mayan dragon, or the Gozakala, and the fact that Reed actually used the symbol of Kula, which means to remove from life, because the Mayan dragons actually represent the rearrangement of life, which is what he was spewing as his fire. So that was actually well done, because I double checked that. I checked crossover my little thing, because I like mythology. I said that was actually pretty well done in how he beat the symbol and everything and defeated Hip. Otherwise, yeah, outside Norman being a narcissist, yeah, that's really all my old pros here too. Honestly, the fight scenes are good for JR's artwork, but the rest of it, like I said, they either look like they're half asleep, they're rolling their eyes, or at one panel I said, does he have a face? He doesn't seem to have a face. So
yeah, where was a comment I thought Joey Z said, not to be disrespectful or make excuses, but might JR's art have been subpar, rushed due to preoccupation with his father's ailing health? I guess that could be it.
Maybe
that could be why he isn't up to par. All right,
Brad,
Kelly, go ahead, Mark.
Before we go into cons, because I know that's going to be a big thing here. One thing that I find intriguing, those kids being constructs. I like that concept. I think it was Mike on the show that kind of threw that out there earlier. I really like that idea. And what I kind of hope they do with it is Paul knows everything about this Rabin. I mean, he knows everything about these symbols. And I'm wondering if it's going to reveal that he knew they were constructs all along and just used that in order to kind of connect with Mary Jane and stuff. And that could be a good raid for them to kind of break up there a little bit.
Yeah, probably.
I kind of like that panel. I mean, for the artwork alone, what do you guys think? For a half a second,
that's good.
No, I thought that was good. I was feeling a lot of JR's special stuff, like with that when he does his artwork, especially his battles. But he always makes that mystical stuff look great.
For half a second, even though I read it after it had been spoiled, I'm like, well, wait a minute, what in the world is going on? When I read it, I'm like, whoa, and it flipped it a little bit.
Well, it was supposed to, but again, like I said, it got spoiled from us. But I actually think that was more of a benefit for Marvel, and ultimately like a benefit to help us kind of process what we were about to read. Because if we had if we had gotten that organically, like you saw how much the internet blew up and how angry they were just from the beginning, and all we had was the last 2 pages in these grainy photos. So, imagine if all of us had just read it and it hadn't have been spoiled. There would have been it would have been bad. So I actually think it was good that it did get leaked.
All right, Kelly, you got the floor for the cons.
Yes. All right. So obviously, just to put it bluntly, this issue is offensive. As someone who loves female superheroes, as a female comic book fan, Kamala stood out. She was the first Muslim superhero in a mainstream comic, and she was so important and so loved by so many of her fans. I get not everyone cares about her, and many listeners are probably going to tune this out if I go into just how cool she is or was. So I'll try just to make this as relatable as I can. Think of my love for Mayday and my story with Spider-Girl, about how I found her and saw myself in her. Think of your absolute favorite character and how you see yourself in them. For so many, that was Kamala. So for her to die like this, not in her own book, not even in a story where she was utilized and established properly, is insulting. It'd be like if Peter showed up in 2 panels of, I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy and just exploded in space. Poof, gone. Sure, he's got to come back somehow, but WTF, like it would be insulting and done just for cannon fodder, for shock and awe. That's what fridging is. I know a lot of people are going to argue that, Gwen Stacy was fridged, and as we know, this is the 50th anniversary issue of Gwen's death, but Gwen wasn't fridged. Fridging means to kill for shock. Gwen died because after trying to figure out how to move her character forward in the story, Conway couldn't see any other option. Gwen was written in a way where she was at a standstill story-wise, and it was the one way that she could be written out while still leaving a lasting impact. Gwen's death and ultimately her martyrdom, her sainthood, propelled Peter and Spider-Man forward. She was never forgotten. She was never swept under the rug. It wasn't done for just shock value and to just cause pain. Gwen's death meant something. What is the impact to Kamala dying in this story? How was her death meaningful? How is it a proper turning point for this horse shit that is Amazing Spider-Man right now? It's not. Instead, we have a guy whose name is similar to a not so great person who didn't like Muslims, killing a young Muslim woman whose fandom doesn't normally read Spider-Man, who probably wasn't even aware she was making cameos. Like, her fans weren't aware she was making cameos in this book until the leak happened. And you have Kamala die protecting someone she doesn't even know, surrounded by people who barely know her, for absolutely nothing. There's no emotional impact, and this serves no purpose other than to just have someone die in a book that is still being published 50 years after one of its most important storylines. This is the definition of fridging. This was insensitive and inappropriate. But in a run filled with nothing but misogynistic writing and tone deafness, with a team that would rather fight fans than listen, though I will state, you can't just hurl death threats and threaten to beat people up, y'all. Like, this doesn't help anyone, you weirdos. This situation isn't surprising. I'm just shocked no one had any forethought or tact to let this happen and let this go to print. No, Kamala wasn't a last minute change. She was brought in to this story for this reason. And it's like, to me, that only shows how little any of these characters mean to the team that's in charge of telling their story. And that's the saddest damn thing about this issue. I actually didn't read 27 because I can't stomach this anymore. Like, I'll be back gun-ho, like happy to read these stories when the writers change. But for me right now, I'm pretty much out. Like, this issue takes me out. Like, I can't take feeling this disappointed every single time I pick up Amazing Spider-Man. It's not worth it. And that is all I have to say on that.
A couple things I want to talk about. From a marketing thing, they have a movie coming out, and they want attention to that movie, and they want the character in the best-selling book, right? So I see. Would you agree that they put her in Amazing Spider-Man so more eyes see it than her title?
That was the issue. Were they using her, saying, "Hey, she's in here"? Because they weren't.
Yes.
And she wasn't in it.
No,
Not really.
no. They wanted a. It's a disservice to Ms. Marvel fans. It's a disservice to Spider-Man fans to do what they did. Ms. Marvel doesn't need to be in this book. And if you take, I don't know, somebody counted it up. She's in like 5 or 6 panels in the last 5 or 6 issues.
She was in 12 panels leading up to this issue.
Yeah. So she's not an integral part of the book. The emotions feel forced out of the characters. They want to sell books and they want to make headlines. Hence why they sold this death to Entertainment Weekly. Right? I mean, would you agree with that? That's why they did it.
Well, so they already had, because of the fact that like they were going to talk about this shocking death, they already had an agreement with Entertainment Weekly to talk about it after it came out. And the issue is when it got leaked, Entertainment Weekly basically went, hey, this now breaches our exclusive deal, so we're going to publish this right now.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, Marvel completely lost that story, and they had to save face. But like I said, it's about the only thing that, like, to me, that was probably the best way of that happening. Because this is just not like I said, this wasn't right. And I'm not saying, like, it's not like Wells is a great writer to begin with. Let's be fair. So it's not like I was expecting a lot, but for it to be 2023 and you have the character you have, who in their right mind? Because, like, I understand. Yeah, okay, we're gonna kill her off and then we're gonna turn her into a mutant when we bring her back, so that way it lines up exactly with what we want for the MCU. Totally cool. That's fine. But why did she have to die in this story? Why couldn't she have died in her own mini, in her own, or, a lot of people have been saying, why couldn't she have died in a Miles book where they're friends and
because I would think the Marvel bean counters want it to be in the best-selling book. So more eyes see it.
Is Amazing Spider-Man actually the best-selling book, though? Because I don't think it
what's
is.
above it? What's above it? I don't think there's another book above it.
But let's be fair. Nobody's liking this book right now. Nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, even the people that literally have been licking Marvel's boots could not defend this issue.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
A plus. A plus. Just to remind you.
Oh, okay. Well.
Well done. Well done.
Let's open it up to the panel. Before we do that, I want reactions from Kelly on this and everybody else. This came out from Marvel the other day, the X-Men wedding issue, and evidently Emma Frost. Sorry, Emma Frost is getting married to Iron Man, and you see people in the background. There's our buddy Spidey up there. He got invited. Who else got invited?
Look, she's
alive.
What is she doing there?
Like I said, I have a feeling we're gonna find out that none of this was planned well.
Oh, yeah.
From what we know, see, that's the thing. Like, there's this illusion. Like, a lot of people like to pretend that there's still a bullpen. There's not, and these different writers, these different teams really don't talk to each other anymore. So I'm sure the artist who drew this probably just didn't know.
Yeah. Like I read the Ultimate Invasion, and Black Panther was with the Illuminati, but Black Panther's been kicked out of Wakanda. Yeah. I've been reading Black Panther's book, and so when Shooter and DeFalco and several others, when they had editors in chief that tried to coordinate and make everything make sense. Like if it's not there, it doesn't seem like it's there at all.
They don't care anymore. That's the issue. No, literally no one cares. Either they're not getting paid enough and they're just working their wages, which is, knowing Disney, probably true. But the issue is zero. No, there is no heart. There is no care for anything.
There's a desperation for money. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
There's a desperation for money in the fact that they want to here's let's see if we can agree on this. There's Marvel wants you to go see that Marvel movie. That Ms. Marvel, what's it called? The Marvels.
The Marvels.
Yeah.
They want you to go see that. They want synergy. So they want attention to their comic book character. So how do we get something going with her? Let's put her in the best-selling Spider-Man book and let's do something shocking. And then let's get some media coverage for it. Let's call Entertainment Weekly and say, hey, we got a big death coming up. You want it? Boom. I think. And then they go, hey, Zeb Wells, Nick Lowe, put Ms. Marvel in the book. We're going to promote this and have synergy, and we're going to make headlines all over the internet. Do you think all four of those facts are true? Do you think that's how we got here, Kelly?
Honestly, I don't even think there was that much thought of it at all. I really just think Wells was just like, this is what I want to do. And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, I'm sure that there was some editorial mandate stating that some book somewhere needed to kill Kamala off.
Yeah.
So they can do her big return, to promote the movies. And that's, I think that was basically it.
Yeah.
Like, that was probably the only thing that was needed. The rest of it just went whatever. Cause like, I don't really know what they were thinking, but I don't think a lot of thought was really put into it, because they definitely weren't thinking beyond their own blinders and realizing just like how bad the optics look here.
Right. Yeah.
And the fact no one caught that still.
A couple things you
me
mentioned or have mentioned in the past is this was done during a month. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, so this came out the last day of Asian and Island Pacific Heritage Month, which of course Kamala would fall under as a South Asian, and yeah.
So that happened. So the timing, probably nobody noticed that, or
no, they didn't.
Yeah.
No,
and the name of the villain who killed her, you said in your is, tell me the little history of that, please.
So there's a former Israeli prime minister who was not so kind to Muslim people, whose last name was Rabin. So yeah, none of this looks that great. Like I said, the outside optics, like, the more you think about it and the more you try to look at it, it just looks worse. And I know no one did this intentionally. Like, I don't think Wells is that much of an insane person. But I do think he's lazy. I think Nick Lowe is lazy. And so nobody thought outside themselves. And I know when I was super angry, I was basically saying they're just all circle jerking each other and they don't really seem to care, like, exactly, what things look like. And that's why this blew up in their faces. But, the issue at hand too is they're all sitting here. I mean, they were even joking. They're like, oh, Wells is not going to be able to do conventions after this. Ha ha ha. And, that's what made everybody like get worried and think, oh, he's going to kill Mary Jane off, especially because marketing kept going, this is going to be the most shocking death since Gwen Stacy. It's shocking, but as I stated, not for the right reasons. Like, I know that a lot of people will sit there, they'll look me dead in the face and go, no, Gwen Stacy was fridged. Gwen was not fridged. Because fridging has the intention of just doing it for shock and awe, and that was never the case. She wouldn't be she wouldn't be Saint Gwen the way she is if, her death hadn't meant anything.
Well, we got a couple super chats. I'll pop them up in a minute, but let's go around the horn for cons. JR, cons out of you, sir.
Well, I hate to follow Kelly's soliloquy.
Sorry.
No. It just what I'm just saying.
You've intimidated Spider Yoda.
anything I would say would be grossly inadequate. But there's so much wrong with this. I mean, it would take a half hour to discuss what's wrong with this story. The lack of any kind of stakes. I mean, we're not invested in the children when they disappear. We're not invested in Kamala. We're not, this is a very, in a way, this is a very personal story for Peter, because he did all this to rescue Mary Jane. And in a way it was for nothing because he's lost his relationship with her. But, instead of this being about him, we have, we've got the Fantastic Four in it. We had Captain America in it earlier. So, what should have been a very personal story for him. We always bring in these other heroes all the time, and I'm sick of them acting like douches to each other. They've been friends for 15 to almost 20 years, if anybody has a right to act like a douche to Peter Parker, it's Norman Osborn, because of what Norman perceives Peter has taken from him, not, Johnny Storm, not Johnny and Ben acting like petulant children, You know, they've done dumb things too. I mean, come on, but between the two of those, they don't have brain between them. You know, they've done a lot of dumb stuff.
I mean, just look at Johnny's mustache right now. Like,
oh yes, orange
he has no reason to judge anybody. But again, Wells, like, nobody's written correctly. Like, nobody, not a single character. Like, that's why I was like, the only thing I had to really say was, you know, okay, at least Norman's making it about himself. Like, that's somewhat Norman.
That tracks. Yeah.
But but the most irritating, and I mean, I understand Carrie, some of Kelly's emotion, but I mean, the first thing I heard when it was like, oh, well, it's going to be reversed, because it always is. And, you know, like even when Captain America died all those years ago, I said, I can't believe all the ink that's being wasted on this, because he's not permanently dead. Yeah. So, you know, it's just Marvel's fundamental lack of integrity ultimately is the core here. They, like you said, they don't care anymore. They are circling the drain. You know, them and DC as well. I don't know. I think their objectives are just the next paycheck. They have no, you know, like I said, their integrity is gone. They are making no long-term investment in the characters. So, you know, I mean, and I could go on and on and on, but this is bad in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mark, cons.
Just the pacing of the whole thing.
Yeah.
It took way too long for the story, and I don't think the 6-month mystery really played out like it could have. If we had started with this, he peers, he's racing to get back, he comes in, and she's got kids, and then we have to go through that whole thing wondering how's this kid thing going to work for them. I've been more invested. But just the whole pacing was a downer on it, I think.
Yeah. Ryan, cons out of you, sir.
Well, you know, everybody's kind of hit the ball on everything, but also it's just, you know, Wells didn't know where this story was going to end. He just knew, I have to explain this and I have to kill off Miss Marvel by the end of this story, because everything changed. People saw on my Discord, my other reviews, about how I tried to take all of Wells's, you know, from issue 1 and match it with the panels with what the payoff was for each of these storylines, and nothing matches up. I mean, especially the talk where Peter actually busts in the apartment, says, you know, Paul, who are you really? He's like, oh, I'm actually Paul Jeremiah Rabin. I'm the son of Benjamin J. Rabin from that universe. And after my father killed billions of people, I said, you know, that's not really right. I should just kill you too, Dad. And, you know, everything else. And then, you know, with the children and so forth, nothing works. And Mary Jane basically says, like, well, Paul is as pathetic as you, Peter, about guilt, so that's why I'm going to stay with him, and because of the kids. And it doesn't, it's insulting to all the characters. Like I said, the one character that's right is Norman Osborn, the way he's reacted, the way the relationship has been with Peter, which I'll talk more in 27 later on here too. It's like nobody is who they are. As JR has perfectly put, nobody cares. No one thinks like I know Kelly's going to bump in. I'll let you go in there, Kelly.
I was going to let you finish. Basically, I was just going to kind of harp on the fact too, like, to lean more into the fact that, like, Wells didn't really know what he was doing, is you can see everything, and we've talked about it on the Discord with everybody, where the minor tweaks could have been done. Like, there's really good bones with those kids, that if they had been actually focused on more, like, especially, like, they look like Peter and MJ. They're supposed to, because they're supposed to basically tie Mary Jane, and basically, like, almost they chain her heart, so to speak. And that could have been played on more if Wells actually, like, had an emotionally intelligent bone in his body, but he doesn't.
Right.
I mean, he writes robot chicken skits. He's not that great.
And he does SNL, and he was actually a scripted writer before, you know, Axel Alonso you won the Wizard Magazine Award. I want you to write.
He's not a good SNL writer. SNL has not been good since the mid 90s.
Right. No, I'm not disagreeing there, because I've been there. But like I said, the last thing too is, like we were saying, they don't care, is because people even asked Ryan North, the writer of Fantastic Four currently, about why is things just not matching up the way Johnny was acting in Fantastic Four and the way he's talking about this. And Ryan North officially said, nobody told me anything.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
They don't talk. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and same thing here. I mean,
there's
even
no
Mary Jane's power seemed to have been more McKay, and Wells like, oh, now I have to talk actually what that watch is about. He didn't know either. He never had that plan. That was on McKay for the Black Cat miniseries. None of the writers were talking with each other either.
And
So,
and this is the thing that is on Lowe. Lowe is an editor who he doesn't edit just ASM. Like, he edits a lot of books. He could work with other editors. He could have been sitting there saying, hey, here's this overarching thing. We need this to all mesh together. There should be an overarching plan. But from what I understand, he pretty much just lets the writers go and kind of says, hey, I'm being told that we need to add this or we need to include this, and this is it. He doesn't care. I mean, we've seen that. We've seen enough errors to know he doesn't do his job. And, I try to be nice and kind about these things, even though I know I have recently, because I've been increasingly angry. I know I mocked somebody during our movie review. Mr. Oh, they're not mandates. We just influence. But yeah, no, nobody cares. They don't care anymore. Period. And they're not working together, and I don't even think they're really working. They just
I think
together and go.
He double checks the spelling. Yeah, it's right. Oh, the characters might have a different name or a different spelling, but oh well, everything else on my spell check works. Okay, send it to print. Send it to JR. Send it to Patrick.
One thing we didn't show at the double page spread after the letters pages, we got Spider-Man in tears here, which seems he's guilty enough. I mean, I don't think he knows her enough to be in this position crying with all the people behind him that barely know her, with the exception of Captain Marvel here. Where's Miles Morales is what a lot of people have said. Where's the champions? Are they not there because their book was canceled? Is that why they're not there? That doesn't seem like a organic storytelling. It seems like a mandate. Let's put our big guns out sobbing for this character.
Yeah, because it was. And that's the thing too. And that's my that's why I'm sitting here trying my best to explain. This is fridging. What happened to Gwen was not fridging. Yes, that was a pain for Peter Parker, but it makes sense for the story to be propelled forward. What does this give any of these characters?
Yeah.
And even look at the side over here where it says the Marvel Universe mourns Kamala Khan. Why are all of these fans of hers happy? All of this is tone deaf. None of it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. And why is it in a Spider-Man book? This is a Spider-Man podcast. Why are we spending 3/4 of it talking about a character that's in a couple panels? I don't understand. I don't get it. What? I don't get it. A couple of super chats.
Can you pull up Adam Winchell's comment?
Dude, there are so many I can't because I have no idea.
A lot of comments.
Adam says, just bring her back with Mephisto, Pete.
Yeah,
go.
I mean, especially too, that was also, I think I saw another comment earlier what was oh, this is going to be the most gut-wrenching death in the last 50 years. And it was Aunt May, your death means nothing.
Here, the one I like I said, when you say pull up the chat is just blowing up. I can't put every comment up, but they kind of stand out with super chats. The members stand out a little bit. So I'm going to put the super chats up. We got here's a question: does Marvel need a culture change from Milo?
Yes, obviously.
Yeah.
Just the editor change.
That too.
An editor change. I think Nick Lowe. It's time. It's time to go. I mean, we need some new blood.
Yeah.
Lowe
needs some new blood.
Lowe needs to either care about his job or he needs to find something that he does care about.
Vinkman says Kelly's pissed and he's here for it. We are too. We also have a super chat down here that just popped up. Josh says, will no one talk about how much Rabin sucked?
I will.
He does suck.
But that's obvious.
Yeah.
I think it's important that he does. This is a story about Peter and MJ when the Miss Marvel stuff.
Really?
But the whole arc is about Peter and MJ. We need a story that focuses on Peter and MJ. We need a villain that's powerful enough to be a threat, but not so important that we want his story. We just can't be a Green Goblin story because we're going to want to know more about Norman. Peter and MJ need to be the focus of it. So it's kind of like the bad guy in Suicide Squad, the first movie. Yeah, who cares about all she did was dance the whole time, with her making her spell. We didn't need her. We had plenty of other characters vying for the spotlight. So we don't need Rabin to be important. We just need him to be powerful and to move on.
What if we had a villain we liked, a story we liked, and characters we liked? Mark, what would that be like? We don't need a sucky bad guy.
That would be Moon Knight.
Yeah,
that's what that would be.
What the frick is this?
What, Kelly?
So that's asking for too much, Brad. This
I guess it is.
2023. It's not 1993.
I'm just saying, what if we were emotionally invested in everyone, and the story was emotional? It made sense. It wasn't characters acting out of character. It was a story that was logical, like Spock, JR. I mean, it just flowed. It didn't at all. Any final thoughts on this one before we move to the next issue? Okay, I think we hit that one pretty hard. Let me see chat. Vinkman says it was not a story. It was an editorially mandated publicity stunt that blew up in Marvel's face. I give you that. I'll give you that. The Netta Ms. Marvel has been revived 4 times. Is that right?
No,
I'm not into her character.
Not 4 times. She has died in the past and has been brought back, but that was in Champions. And I think there might have been one other story that was a little vague, but it hasn't. She
was
been
brought back
times.
by Mephisto. Miles made a deal with Mephisto to bring her back.
Oh wow,
that was in Champions.
Wow.
And see, that made more sense than this. Figure that out.
MJWP says if we had the POV of Mary Jane about all this, it would have changed everything. Especially, it would have been great to see Mary Jane's judgment in about issue 10. So, I don't know. Would having the story told through Mary Jane's eyes done anything differently, guys?
No, because I don't trust Wells to write women well. Like this story, like all of this so far has proven that he doesn't understand how, like, he doesn't understand it, because I would love to see Mary Jane's point of view here. Mm-hmm. I'd love to actually like feel a connection to those stupid kids, but we didn't get that. And I don't trust Wells to have, again, the emotional maturity to write that story.
Yeah. Here, this one's pretty good. 2058 is when Spider-Man becomes public domain and JR writes it. Or a fan watching the show will write it. Maybe. I don't know. Only person that stays dead is Goliath, says Josh. Winnipeg Webhead. Joey Z, your favorite. JR, Secret Invasion Episode 1 is a good example of fridging, to be honest, and ironically a prequel to the Marvels. I fell asleep during that first episode, and I didn't really believe what I was seeing at the end of that episode.
So
because everybody's a shapeshifter.
Yeah, and plus I would also state right now that we can't really say it's fridging because TV works a little bit differently. And I know what scene they're talking about. And since that's how it ended, we're not going to know more until the next issue.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Winnipeg also says, don't apologize, Kelly. That was very well put. All right. I think I have kind of gone through chat a little bit. Oh, yeah. Even Doc Ock made a deal with Mephisto. That's right. That's right.
Everyone's making deals with the devil in Marvel. Like
Johnny Blaze was one of the first. Yeah.
They all need Jesus.
Who is Jesus in the Marvel universe? Is it Warlock? Who's
That's a good question. I mean, Jesus, the one above.
I don't know. It's the Mephisto Comics Group, says Adam. All right, Mark, you've got the next one here. Let me pull it up.
All right, pull up that cover. Pull up that cover.
I got you. There you go, buddy.
All right,
reflected in the eyes of Ock.
Yeah, reflected in Doc Ock's glasses are Spider-Man and Black Cat, helpless in his clutches. Oh no, could this be a callback to the old Octopus Owl War where Spidey rips Ock's arms off after Black Cat gets injured? Oh boy, I cannot wait to find out. So, come on, let's go. Spider-Man, turn the page. Turn the page.
Okay,
there we go. Spider-Man's on the rampage, and he's after Charmin's #1 spokesperson, the quilted mischief maker himself, known as the Shocker. What did Herman do? Who cares? It's just there because Black Cat doesn't want a angsty Spidey who's down in the dumps because some character who's not even in the Spider universe is killed on his watch. So she's got this all set up. Shocker doesn't realize it. Spidey doesn't realize it. And it doesn't work. Spidey's going to stay all down in the dumps. And he gives Shocker a certain concussion. And Spidey and Black Cat go off on their own ways, letting us know that this relationship is not destined to work out. Black Cat calls Norman to send in the team, collect Shocker, and Spider-Man goes off to his house. And in the shadows, something is watching. You're too far ahead of me there. Something is watching.
Sorry. He went back to his house. Sorry. There he goes.
Is it Kane? No. Is it Big Brother? No. Is it Santa Claus? No. It's Doc Ock's arms. Or actually, it's Doc Ock's harness for the arms because the arms are all out of sight, grip and hold of there. And so apparently that harness has a little bit of sensory, some type of eye things there. Anyway, doesn't really matter. All right. Now, meanwhile, Norman is also down in the dumps because he killed Kafka, a.k.a. the Queen Goblin. And that is the Queen Goblin, not the Goblin Queen. And I know this because Michael, not fake Mike that pops on the podcast, but the other Michael that pops up on the front page in the reviews, always corrects me because I always get it wrong in my review. All right. So gotcha, Mike. Thank you. And since she was a bad guy, though, his lawyers got him completely exonerated. He didn't even have to go to court for this. These are some really, really good lawyers here. All right. But that doesn't, assuage his guilt. And Chi-Town, if you're listening, assuage means to lessen and to make a little better. All right. and as you can see, he's got what looks to be maybe the dry, crazy sweats going on there. All right. Now, meanwhile,
hold on.
Peter goes home.
Hold on. I got where's my okay, here's your crazy sweats. I gotta show crazy sweats.
The dry, crazy sweats there. Yeah, he's dehydrated. Yep. Remember, hydrate or dehydrate, folks. Get that water in here.
Why is his eyes that bugged out? That's just.
I can go.
Literally, everything from this issue concerns me.
All right. Meanwhile, Peter goes home and goes to sleep with a 16-year-old girl's mask, which is not at all cringy because he is the protagonist of our story.
He's 19, not 16.
16, according to the Marvel fandom page. All right.
Then how is
it's
she
not
in
at all
college
cringy.
and an intern? Sorry.
I don't know. She lied. I don't know.
All right.
Here, hold on a second. I've got the images. Let me show you the mask. Him falling asleep with the mask in the bed. There you go. And there's
this is totally normal and totally not weird.
Yeah. Okay, Mark, go ahead.
All right. So I want to make it clear that the official Crawlspace take on this is that this is a heartwarming, endearing show of grief and not at all cringe. And I'm not just saying that because Brad said I had to say it because he's worried that if I make a comment about cringe that JR is going to come in and start making comments that's going to make this become an explicit show.
Okay.
Now, if that's not endearing enough for you, we also have somebody stalking Peter right there. We have the harness watching him sleep for hours. And we know it's hours because as Evan Barry pointed out on the front page, the shadows move, letting us know he's been watching Peter for hours. And when he leaves, he returns to Doc Ock, who, according to the artwork there, has going down a little bit more, has another pair. Keep going.
As far as I can go. I gotta go to the next page. There you go.
There we go. He's got some arms there, but these aren't the arms he's going to showcase later, and they're not those arms. So I don't know where these arms come from, but it doesn't really matter. He looks at his arms and he says, "You have failed me for the last time." And then we get the onomatopoeia, "Zee!" and he knocks them out.
Let me see your onomatopoeia.
There we go. Look at that. That's some classic onomatopoeia right there.
Got
Transparent letters. Nice. All right.
Okay. Here we go.
When the
Here's
arms
Ock.
come to, Ock shows his new and improved arms that have things that are designed to look like octopus suckers and are run off a self-validating nano fluid. Now, I can't see at all how having octo arms that can think for themselves with Dr. Octopus's own thoughts can possibly go wrong for Dr. Octopus here. This is going to be great. Little point of fact here, fun learning, because we're all about learning here on the Crawlspace. The plural for octopus is not octopi. It is actually octopuses. So,
oh, I didn't know. I thought it was octopi. Is
nope,
octopi even a word?
Misconception.
I thought you were about to slip in to say something else.
Me too. That was a James Bond movie.
Yeah, that's Octopussy. Written by Ian Fleming.
Ryan, we don't just like run into it, okay? Like,
I know.
You gotta let people like have an imagination.
Oh,
That's
okay. Double O Mark, go ahead.
Not only can the arms think for themselves, but each segment can break apart from each other, and each segment can think for itself. And we see this because they very, very loudly break up the old arms and break them to pieces. Now, guys, I didn't shed a tear when Mary Jane's children died. I didn't shed a tear when Miss Marvel died. But seeing these arms get ripped up, it brought me back. It felt like I was reading Where the Red Fern Grows back in elementary school all over again. It's so sad. I'm just having a moment. Oh. Now, there you go. Those of you who say that Zeb Wells can't write emotion, boom, there it is. Look at that. Now, moving on.
What's your thoughts on the onomatopoeias there as they get eaten? The gwarble, gwarble. It sounds like grimace.
Yeah. I said they were very, very loudly putting them up there. Yeah.
All right.
Now, speaking of sad moments, Norman and Peter bond over their sadness. Peter over Miss Marvel, Norman over Kafka. And now that Peter understands what happened in that 6-year mystery, because he obviously didn't know either, he understands that Norman has earned his second chance, which is actually like a fourth chance when you look at all the continuity, but that's okay. And they say, at least she's dead. Kafka, not come on. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for.
But she's not dead. Kafka. Kamala's dead as a doornail. Kafka's not dead. And we find out because we go to Ravencroft. And two guys in Ravencroft open the door, and there she is. And they boom. That was scary. All right. Now, finally, JJJ is furious at images in the New York Bulletin that show him in Ock arms, and the headline says, Jameson, threat or menace. Or at least it should have said that. And he gets his rant interrupted. I don't know why he's really upset. I think he's upset because that photo is like 27 issues ago, and it's just now making the newspaper. The newspaper man in him's like, timing. But the door, there's a knock on the door, and he goes and he sees right there Doc Ock's arms, all broken to pieces, and looking at him with sadness. To be continued.
All right. Johnny Five is alive. Anyway, remember Short Circuit? Remember that movie? Okay. Mark, what's your grade?
C-.
Your delivery was an A. Very good. You were more entertaining than the damn book. Ryan, what's your grade?
Believe it or not, a B.
B. Kelly, you said you didn't read it, right?
I read the first half of it before I just said no, but I have a personal I'm not comfortable with Doc Ock, so
yeah.
This issue is weird.
Is it this image that's throwing you off? You don't like that image? Or
no,
you just don't like the whole damn thing?
Gives me hope.
There's a lot. There's a lot. That gave you hope? Do you need a moment with Doc Ock's arms?
No, I've had plenty of moments.
Me, Mark.
I've already reviewed this on the front page. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
It's looking at you, Mark. It's looking at you.
I mean, it's like he said it was sad, and I'm just like, I want to beat it with a hammer.
You want a chameleon it like Mary Jane with a bat.
No, that's a lamp.
Oh, it was a lamp. That's right.
But yeah.
All right. You want to give it a grade, Kelly, or you abstain?
Can I give it a WTF? I don't know
that'll
what's
work.
going
That'll
on.
work. Okay. JR, what's your grade or abbreviation?
Oh, it's a D. It's just, there's just not much. There's not a single thing worth anything in this story.
Yeah, I'll give it a C-, I guess. Yeah. Mark, give me your pros, sir.
Wait, Ryan didn't give his grade, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Yes, I did.
I worked the bottom and then went up. Yep.
Sorry. All right, I have 2 pros. One, we didn't have too much angst. I thought we were going to have a whole issue with Peter, moaning and crying, and we have to have some because he died. We did have that stupid scene there with the mask and stuff, but because he wasn't in this issue too much, we didn't have to deal with too much of the angsty stuff there. So I'm almost like Black Cat in this case here. Let's move on here. All right,
Mark, real quick.
The other is
here,
yes.
Mark. Can I debate your point about the angst?
Sure.
If he really gave a damn about Kamala Khan, shouldn't there be angst? Why is he there's the mask?
There is. Everybody grieves in their own way, Brad,
Not this
Some
guy.
people
He's
sleep
been going
with,
60 years angsty about Uncle Ben. This guy didn't even go an issue. He was like, I'll go to bed.
In fairness, as I stated, this is for Peter. This is basically the equivalent of, the person that's always in line with you at Starbucks dying. Like he's not that close, which makes it worse about the stupid mask. And also, why didn't he put that back on her?
Yeah.
So that, I have lots of questions.
When I first read it, and I thought Felicia left it there, and that's Felicia's mask because they have similar masks. Do they not? I mean, I really until people started talking about it online. Oh, he's remembering Kamala with her mask. I'm like, Felicia stays there a lot. Why isn't it Felicia's mask?
But see, that also is just a little weird because again, it's not like their relationship is that deep either.
Yeah. Well, they've been dating off and on for 30 years.
Yeah, but when has he ever been shown sleeping with her mask?
Well, sometimes you leave things there. Look at that mask. Is it not the same?
Okay, it's a different connotation. Like it's supposed to be like, oh, he's sad about this and he's moping over this.
Yeah.
Why would he be doing that with Felicia's mask?
Let me read the text here. Let me see. How long has it been since Ms. Marvel gave her life to save MJ, just save all of us? Black Cat's right. She went on to go on, keep fighting the good fight, and I will for her eventually. I don't know. I'm like, it doesn't. Anyway, go ahead, Mark.
Right, the other pro is we have, after this long drawn out, what did Peter do with all the dark web and the Hellfire Gala and all that other crap that came in? We had the promise of a lighthearted, low stakes romp with JJJ and Octopus Arms and Dr. Octopus and Octopus Arms. And that should be fun. Should be fun. I don't know if it'll be written fun, but it should be fun. It has potential. And I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for the next issue. For once, I am excited for this next issue.
I am not.
Mainly,
I don't like those arms. I don't like the new arms. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not. I don't like them.
But you're missing the big point here, Brad.
What am I missing?
I'm excited for the next issue because I am not going to be reviewing it. We are going to have Hornacek himself come here and review it. Good old Craig.
That's why
Craig's
you're
gonna review
excited.
this
You're
thing.
off for
Yes.
2 weeks. Yeah.
I'm all for an issue here. And we've had a little pool going on. What is Hornacek going to call his new review column? And right now, the leading money is Craig's Crap is what it's going to be called. But I don't know. We'll have to wait. I'll find out when you guys find out. This is going to be exciting.
Oh, man.
So.
All right. Hornacek just gave you an emoji. He's watching. Milo is excited Hornacek is going to review the next one. And then Hornacek goes, wait, what? Bankman says you're in denial, Mark. Pro No Mary Jane and Paul, says Hornacek. I love MJ, but at this point, I'd rather she not be in the book than be in the book written like that.
Agreed.
Yep. Any more pros, Mark, before I open it up?
No, that's it.
All right. Ryan, pros. What'd you like?
Right now, Peter and Norman are the best relationship in this actual book. They actually are talking, as characters have been going through, where Peter has kind of moved a little bit more where he's trying to, and he's actually trying to comfort Norman, and how much Norman is actually feeling guilty about this. Yes, he's made it all about himself, but he's also, as he said, he's moved to the stage of like, I let her die. And, I killed Ashley Kafka, who died for my sins, literally for me killing her, and so forth. He's actually the best relationship in the book right now, and it's actually works on the characters. It's the only thing that's really going well on this. And I this was actually my favorite part of the actual book here, as well as the whole thing with Dr. Octopus's new harnesses, because when he was talking about an extension of it fluid, I'm like, oh yeah, classic Doc Ock. This couldn't possibly go wrong in the next issue or two with it being an extension of his and the nano fluid. So those were my pros, and the story pace moved pretty well actually versus what it was. But yeah, I kind of agree. We'll get to cons later, but yeah, I mean the whole mask part. When I first read it, I was like, is that Felicia's? Like, oh, that's.
Oh, you're with me.
And then I was like, wait, now that's just very wrong, is what I went. First, I was like, oh, his girlfriend left and he's holding his mask, and I went, wait a second. Yeah,
that's not. Yeah, JR, is the Norman Peter relationship a pro for you?
No,
it feels wrong, doesn't it? Maybe it should feel wrong. I don't know. He's too damn forgiving.
This is kind of a dumb conversation, though. I mean, feeling guilty about Kamala's death is dumb. And I'm not even buying Norman feeling guilty about Ashley Kafka's death. I mean, it's not like. Norman killed her. Well, she's not dead, obviously. But he was trying to save Peter's life at the time. It's not like he reacted out of anger and killed somebody who was no longer a threat to him. None of this really seems real. It just seems like, this is what, we're going to have the character say, and, this is going to push along, this particular plot point. And, it didn't feel genuine. It didn't seem like a genuine conversation that the two would have, to be honest.
Well, it feels very off. It feels very off. His relationship with Norman feels off. His relationship with Mary Jane feels off. His relationship, his alleged relationship with Ms. Marvel, is off. What's right? What's right with this? Is there anything that feels right? What, Kelly?
It doesn't take much to make this book feel really, really dirty. And that's just fun.
Dirty? What do you mean?
Got octopus arms.
Oh, okay.
Whatever bromance is happening with Norman and Peter, I'm sure makes those shippers happy. There's just a lot of
romance
going
between
on.
These two. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, this book could get really, really dirty really quickly if it really wanted to, and I guess that's fun.
Yeah,
maybe. Not the right tone after this most important character of all time. Look at how helpful she is for Spider-Man. She's such an integral part of Spider-Man. Also, the next issue, we're just gonna sit there and like borderline make this weird.
Yeah. Well, the next book is probably going to be $5, which we saw previewed at the last issue. And that's where they deal with the death of her instead of this next issue is what's going on. Anyway. Vinkman, thank you for the super chat. Brad, Peter's not sleeping with Felicia's mask. Kamala's mask has a blue shine. Well, I'm just saying, Vinkman, when I read it, I thought somebody left some clothes over at the boyfriend's house, is what I read, as opposed to the character that hasn't been in it very much. So that's the way I read it. So anyway, let's see. Oh, this is pretty good. Spider Ghost. Osborn killed his damn kid. What the hell, Peter? I don't.
Bygones. That's just a Monday.
Yeah. Winnipeg says the pro is the bromance between Jameson and the Arms. Let's see. The arms go to a friend after an encounter with an abusive ex. Good grief. Josh Nelson wants the panel to answer the question: who is worse, Dan Slott or Zeb Wells?
Dan Slott.
Right now, Wells.
Ryan?
I'm gonna go with Wells.
JR?
I'll go Slott.
Slott.
You're the tiebreaker.
Yeah, Slott. I'll go Slott. I think never mind.
The sad thing
it's
is
close,
both of
whatever
them
it is.
are really good writers when they want to be. I mean, they can really crank out a great story, but we're just not seeing it here.
As Kelly has mentioned last month, and I imagine this month, the adjectiveless Spider-Man book Slott's writing is not bad. When he isn't so editorially mandated, he's halfway decent.
Like I said, this is my thing, is that Slott at least knows what he's talking about, and even if we don't necessarily agree with his viewpoints or with, honestly, to me, I don't like his attitude and the way he acts, but he knows Spider-Man. He can write a decent Spider-Man story. I have never seen Wells write a decent Spider-Man story. And that's just.
I like the Tombstone, the Hobgoblin off the first 12 issues. I like those.
I didn't even like that.
You didn't? I thought that was his best, but cons. Kelly, you got any cons that you haven't said yet?
I mean, I guess it'd be the same as like my pro. This issue is really easy just to turn into a very dirty joke. Okay. Yeah. So it's a pro and a con.
Did we hit anybody else have any cons?
Yeah, I don't like the way that Dr. Octopus is portrayed here. I mean, he's back to being a fat toad. He's a caricature. In fact, and then Shocker is treated as a joke. It's the villains aren't frightening anymore. The villains aren't scary anymore. The villains don't have, motivations that that you fear for society or whatever because they're on the warpath. I mean, this whole thing with the Arms is stupid. It's stupid. The Arms being in love with Spider-Man and Octopus, having this whole, his arm. It's just stupid. There's just no defending it, this is a really stupid story.
Why is Spider-Man's spider sense not going off?
Well, they're no threat to him.
Yeah.
There's no threat. They're not an Arms a threat.
Yeah, they're in love with him, so I mean, they're not threatening him.
Yeah.
Spider sense works in different ways. I mean, if the writer wanted him to jump out of bed with spider sense because arms are coming in through the window, the writer could do that. But
I mean, the arms came in, pulls his cover up. I mean, blanket up.
It's just taking care of him.
Yeah, just put him as teddy bear, and he's all good.
Yeah.
My Spider-Man wakes up out of bed with spider sense. That's the way I feel he should wake up. But anyway,
think about the spider sense as being more like your hearing. So you can hear things around you, but you're not always paying attention to it, and you ignore things. Especially, you're a teacher now. You've been in that hallway of the school building, and you ignore half or over half of what you hear. It's just mindless stuff. So I think he's so used to that spider sense. It's just background spider sense.
Yeah. All right. We got about 10 minutes till the next show. Let's start wrapping it up. Let's do final thoughts. Ryan, what's your final thoughts on these two controversial issues?
Besides, we've all said everything, and I think Kelly did a masterful job talking about 26. But one my thing is here with issue 27, we're getting back to storylines that were done 20 issues ago. Like the harness was from from 900. The whole thing with Jameson, complaining about his article. You're talking about stories that were not even talked about or even seen anywhere in the last 20 issues. Now we got to care because Wells is like, okay, I'm finally done with all that, and I need to move on. That's kind of why I've, thrown a little bit here with Wells is the worst writer. Cause also he's like, oh yeah, I have to get to those storylines as I have to do at least another 8 months here if I have a job or not on Spider-Man. So I'll remember that. Yeah. I'll remember my free comic book day. I'm going to do that too. So, it's like all of a sudden we're supposed to care when he didn't even worry about it for the last 20 issues.
Yeah. Let's see, Mark, final thoughts.
No final thoughts on these issues, but what Ryan said, I think that might hint that Wells is expecting to do these stories a lot sooner, and that editorial stepped in and extended it out a little bit. But I also want to say, if you guys have not watched the Stan Lee documentary on Disney Plus that just came out, that's good. That's good. Stan Lee narrating his own documentary. I liked it. I thought it was great.
The Kirby estate will disagree with you.
Yeah.
Well, the Kirby estate can go, jump in the lake for all I can care.
Really?
I thought the documentary was well done. I like Kirby. I have no problems with Kirby. I think that he was a bit delusional about some of his comments that he made at the end, but he's upset. He and Ditko both thought they were the creators. Stan Lee thought he was the creator, and when it got kind of compromised, the co-creators, neither Kirby nor Ditko was happy with that. So, but you look at what Stan Lee does on his own, not so good. What Jack Kirby or Steve Ditko did on their own, not so good. But you put those guys together, you got magic.
Yeah, it's almost as if things were a bullpen and everybody actually talked to one another. We'd be getting some great issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
maybe those are my final thoughts. But really, my final thought for this is thanks. I hate it.
Final thoughts, JR.
Back to the Kirby comments. I just find it ironic that Kirby had such a sore, hard feelings about feeling that Stan had stolen credit from him. And, he's the one who said in an interview that he created Spider-Man. He created the costume. He created everything, literally, I think he did apologize to Ditko afterwards, but that was just a stupid, I think, I don't know. He was just so bitter and angry. He wasn't thinking anymore, but there's just, this whole thing about taking sides, about conversations we don't know anything about, people that are all now dead. I just, it's just, I think it's ridiculous to get into this debate anymore. But as far as the topic at hand, this is going to be a bumpy ride here for the next few issues because I frankly did not like the Tombstone story arc. I thought it was torture porn. I don't like, Tombstone can be a good character, but I don't like his character. I don't like, he's just never, it's just always been a weird ass character written weirdly. And I just don't, I just don't like the character, and it bothers me to see that he's getting as much prominence in the title as he is. I'm not optimistic for the next year or so.
Some of us will be back shortly as we review, I think 17. We've got a lot of Spire satellites coming up on our Patreon. We've got Edge of the Spider-Verse. We've got Spider-Boy's origin a little bit. Shadow Clones with Gwen. The Adjectiveless Spider-Man book with Dan Slott. We've got Hallows Eve on this one. Spider-Man India. JR's favorite, The Ultimate Universe, is coming back. You got Spider-Man, Gwen, and Miles in the book. That's why we're talking about it. Miles Morales, part of the Carnage Reigns story. More Carnage. The Red Goblin, a.k.a. the Osborn grandparent story, which is not bad. I'm digging the Red Goblin, JR. If you're not reading it, you should.
I'm reading it.
JR, you reading it? You liking it?
I'll say what I said the last time somebody asked me. It's better than it has any right to be.
Very, very true. with Normie Osborn and Stanley. And what's the symbiote called?
Rascal.
Rascal. Yeah. And then Liz Osborn gets a symbiote because everyone eventually gets one in the Misery book. We got 2 issues of Venom, Extreme Venomverse, and David Michelinie's back writing Venom Lethal Protector 2, even though it should be Lethal Protector 3. If you'd like to see it, we're going to be on in about 5-10 minutes on Patreon at patreon.com/crawlspace. You need to be a sensational member to watch the video feed in just a few minutes. So, to my friends, to my panelists, and everyone watching, thanks for a lively debate, as always, and thanks for tuning in.